Calm is one of the most misunderstood traits in human psychology because what we call calm on the surface can be driven by entirely different internal mechanisms. And if you have ever looked at someone who seems unshakable in chaos and wondered how they do it, or questioned why you yourself appear calm while feeling anything but peaceful inside, psychology has an answer that goes far deeper than personality or temperament. Because calmness is not a single state. It is a response pattern shaped by experience, survival, cognition, and emotional regulation. And today we are breaking down the 4 types of calm people that exist beneath everyday behavior, one of which is fake, one of which is broken, one of which is strategic, and one of which represents a level of psychological mastery most people never reach. Starting with the first type, the calm faker, the person who looks composed, speaks steadily, and appears emotionally grounded while their internal world is running at full speed. This is the person whose mind is looping through worst-case scenarios, self-doubt, and unspoken fear, while their outward expression remains polished and controlled. Psychologists refer to this as surface acting, a form of emotional labor where a person suppresses internal distress in order to meet social expectations or maintain a sense of control. And what makes this type so convincing is that the human brain does not fully distinguish between performed emotion and authentic emotion, meaning that when someone repeatedly acts calm, their nervous system begins to adapt to the performance, often increasing their functional capacity in high-pressure situations, which is why calm fakers are frequently seen as leaders, professionals, or strong individuals. Yet beneath that competence lies a nervous system under constant strain, because sustained suppression does not resolve anxiety. It stores it, and eventually that stored pressure leaks out through burnout, sudden emotional collapse, irritability, or breakdowns triggered by seemingly minor events. And if you have ever seen someone lose control over something trivial and thought it didn't match who they usually are, you are likely witnessing the cost of prolonged emotional masking. The calm faker is not weak, but they are exhausted, and their calm is a performance that keeps them functioning while quietly draining their psychological reserves. The second type of calm person is far more misunderstood and often mistaken for strength when it is actually survival. This is the numb survivor, the person whose calm comes not from peace, but from having endured enough pain that their nervous system recalibrated what counts as a threat. These individuals have lived through emotional trauma, chronic instability, loss, betrayal, or prolonged stress, and as a result, their brain learned that heightened emotional response did not bring safety. So it reduced emotional intensity altogether. Psychology calls this emotional numbing, a protective mechanism that dampens both pain and pleasure, allowing the individual to function without being overwhelmed. Which is why these people often appear eerily calm in situations that leave others panicked. They are not calm because they don't care. They are calm because their system has learned that panic is useless. And while this form of calm can make someone incredibly resilient, dependable, and empathetic toward others, it comes at a cost that is rarely acknowledged, because emotional numbing also blunts joy, excitement, and connection, leaving the person feeling detached from life rather than present within it. And these individuals are often the ones who show up silently for others, who sit with pain rather than try to fix it, because they understand suffering intimately. Yet they rarely receive the same care in return, because their calmness convinces others they don't need support, when in reality they have simply learned to survive without it. The third type of calm person is the overthinking strategist, the one who never panics because they have already panicked privately long before the situation ever unfolded. This calm is built on anticipation, preparation, and mental rehearsal. And neuroscience shows that individuals with high cognitive anxiety often develop exceptional problem-solving abilities under pressure because their brains continuously simulate possible outcomes, meaning that when something goes wrong, it feels familiar rather than threatening. This person carries contingency plans for their contingency plans. And while others are reacting emotionally in the moment, they are executing a response they already prepared, which is why they often appear calm, competent, and unbothered during crises. But the hidden cost of this type of calm is that the mind never truly rests, because safety has become dependent on control, and uncertainty feels intolerable. Even in peaceful situations, their brain is scanning for potential problems, which leads to chronic mental fatigue, difficulty relaxing, and a sense that calm is only achieved through vigilance rather than acceptance. And while this type of calm is incredibly useful in emergencies, leadership, and complex environments, it can quietly prevent the person from experiencing genuine rest or emotional spontaneity, because relaxation feels unsafe when preparedness has become identity. And then there is the fourth type, the rarest and most misunderstood of all, the truly calm person, whose calm is not performed, not numbed, and not calculated, but grounded in psychological flexibility. This calm comes from an ability known in psychology as radical acceptance, the capacity to perceive reality without immediately resisting it, personalizing it, or catastrophizing it. These individuals do not confuse calm with indifference. They feel emotions fully, but they do not allow emotions to dictate their sense of self or direction. When something stressful happens, their nervous system does not automatically interpret it as a threat to identity, which allows them to conserve emotional energy and respond rather than react. Research consistently shows that people with high psychological flexibility experience lower stress, better relationships, and greater life satisfaction, not because their lives are easier, but because they separate events from emotional self-judgment. They practice cognitive reframing naturally, viewing challenges as temporary states rather than personal failures. And they often use temporal distancing, instinctively asking whether a problem will matter in the long term before investing emotional energy into it, which allows them to remain present without becoming overwhelmed. And what separates this type of calm from all others is not the absence of stress, but the absence of resistance to stress. They do not fight reality, they adapt to it. And this is not something they were born with. It is something learned through awareness, experience, and intentional emotional regulation. Which brings us to the most important truth of all. Calmness is not a fixed trait. It is a learned response pattern, shaped by repetition and reinforcement. Meaning that if you recognize yourself in the calm faker, the numb survivor, or the overthinking strategist, that does not mean you are broken. It means your nervous system adapted to protect you based on past experiences. And neuroscience confirms that these patterns can change because the brain is plastic, capable of rewiring through conscious practice, reflection, and new emotional experiences. Even performing calm on the surface can, over time, create genuine calm internally, not through denial, but through gradual nervous system retraining. And understanding these four types is not about labeling yourself or others. It is about developing self-awareness, compassion, and choice. Because calm is not about suppressing emotion, avoiding pain, or controlling every outcome. It is about understanding how your mind responds to uncertainty and learning healthier ways to meet it. And if this explanation made you see yourself or someone in your life more clearly, this is exactly the kind of psychological insight we explore here on the Knownsense, where we break down everyday human behavior through science, awareness, and clarity. So if you want to keep learning how your mind actually works beneath the surface, subscribe to the channel, share your thoughts in the comments, tell us which type of calm you recognized most. And remember, true calm is not about being unshaken. It is about knowing how to return to yourself no matter what shakes you.